Good morning, YouTube. It is DJ Trev. I want to take this opportunity. It's Christmas Eve to wish everybody a very, very happy holiday season. Whether it's Christmas you're celebrating or whatever else, I hope that you get to spend it with your loved ones and you really just have a great time. Forget all about crypto, forget all about the market, just enjoy the holidays and all the magic that brings. All right. That out of the way, you're probably going to see a couple ads real quick. While that's going on, if you could hit the like button for me, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, sorry, I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I'm getting sick again. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell on all so that you're always notified when I put out a video. All right. On the other side of these ads, buckle in for a little bit of a DJ Trev rant. All right. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I'm just getting things set up here. All right. This morning, we had a tweet from Clan Mudhorn that kind of hit me the wrong way. All right. Now, I want to give a little background, and I think that everybody pretty much knows what's going on. But I have been talking about the Terra Rebels since 6 months ago when I actually first started this channel, right? And my fourth video in was Luna Classic, 10 billion supply, and about proposal 3568. And the majority of this video was spent singing the praises of this team that had stepped up to help us out with LUNC. And that was the Terra Rebels. I remember the video clearly as if it was yesterday. I really, really loved everything that these guys were doing for us. And along the way, over the months, I have put out quite a few videos singing their praises. I've had them on to chat with them. This one here, this was the first video, live video that the Terra Rebels had ever done. We did this about 4 months ago, and this was Zaradar, as you see, Ed, Kim, and Raider, and myself. And we talked about the development team and what they had in store for LUNC. They were doing a great job. Everyone was concentrating at that time on validating going, right? Reestablishing delegation governance, right? And everyone was working together and things were going beautifully. And over the months, I continued to talk about them. I had Ed on a couple times. I had Zaradar on a couple times, and we chatted about different things that were happening, right? About 3 months ago, for me, things began to change. And I'm kind of trying to find the one that, this one over here. Bottom right. Terra Rebels are changing into something else. Why are things different now? Now, this was after we had established governance and that that goal that they were all working toward was accomplished. Now they were free to kind of express their own opinions on things, and many of them had different ideas on the path that we should take from that point forward. And it started to degrade into people moving in different directions and really holding tight to their view on how things should go, even if it was the opposite of what some other team members thought. There began to be a little bit of friction, okay? And we talked about it. And that was 3 months ago. 2 months ago, we started seeing some defections. Is the way I'm going to put it, right? Some people leaving the Terra Rebels for various reasons. Terra Rebels abandoning ship, question mark. A major restructuring, what's really going on? And we started talking about some of the different teams that were being formed and the reason that some people were leaving. Now, over the time, there have been, like I said, several people that have left. And I don't know that anybody has ever left like amicably from this organization. It seems like every time someone leaves, there's finger pointing and there's bad words hurled back and forth at each other over Discord, over Twitter. And everyone that I've talked to that has left, everyone has various reasons and different reasons for doing it. But some common names come up often. Maybe one or two names come up as to, this one or that one is leading the group absolutely down the wrong path. I can't agree with it, and I've got to go do my own thing over here. And it's these same names that keep coming up. So at some point, maybe, a person or a couple people have kind of taken control, it seems, over the Terra Rebels, or at the very least are the loudest voices in pushing their agendas, right? So things have begun to degrade and fall apart. Well, as things were falling apart, I started talking about how we really didn't have a leadership team anymore. Because these guys are kind of all going their own way. They've all got different ideas. We don't have a clear path anymore. And that we needed to have some sort of leadership team, centralized leadership team to guide us, not to control everything, right? But to guide us down one path. And I've been hollering about that for a few months now, as have a lot of other people, not just me, okay? But it didn't really, that didn't really coalesce. It didn't really come together. Edward Kim took off and did his Terra Grants Foundation program, which is, a great program, but he's one of the key developers that were capable of L1 stuff that left to do his own thing. And then we got hit with proposal after proposal after proposal, and some of them counteracting the proposal that came before it, right? And then we started talking about a house divided cannot stand, because there really, really began to be this, factions breaking off and people standing behind lines and not bending and hurling mud over the lines at each other about our way to do it is the right way and the way you want to do it is stupid. And, it just went down this downward spiral that it's been going down for quite a while now. And I've been hollering that we need a team. We need a team that we can focus on, people that we vote on as a community that we trust, right? The names that constantly kept coming up were Edward Kim and Tobias Anderson, Zaradar. Those names, we know that if a vote came out, everybody's going to vote for these guys, because these were the two guys who have consistently come on my channel, come on other channels, put themselves out there, showed their faces, doxed themselves, and have been doing the work consistently, right? They've consistently done what they could do and wanted to interact with the community to make sure that they were staying level-headed with what the community wanted, but they just wanted to fix this thing and get it going. And I think most people agree, the vast majority of people agree, these are the guys, right? But Zaradar, as I said here, pulls a Tom Brady and left the Terra Rebels over a proposal that was made and some money that was given to them for development. As far as they had some internal votes as to what exactly to do with that money now that they had it. And Zaradar did not agree with the path that everyone else wanted to take. He was the single voice of opposition in trying to get them to see the error of what they were about to do. Well, no one listened to him, and his conscience would not allow him to continue on once he saw the path that these guys decided that they wanted to go down, and so he left. And he and Ed Kim, you can see in the very latest video I've done, he and Ed Kim have come together, and actually they've been working on this for a while, come together and formed this L1 task force, if you will. And they want to build it up and add a few more developers to it. And this is, in my hopes, going to be the leadership team that I've been screaming about, okay? But we'll talk about that probably in another video. I'm waiting to get either Zaradar or Ed, or maybe both of them, on to actually talk about this proposal that was just released on Agora by Ed. You should go and read it and get familiar with it. But again, we'll talk about that in another video. What I want to talk about is I had a conversation with Clan after all this, because what happened was they took the $150,000 that they were given by the community, right? And let me go to the... So here was the proposal. It was 11,030, and this was for separation of Rebel Station from TFL backend infrastructure and assets. So the idea was that they created Rebel Station, which was basically a copy of Terra Station, because you just didn't know when TFL might decide to just what you call sunset any support for anything that had to do with Terra Classic. And it seemed that they were, and in fact they are, moving to a different platform or a different type of station that wasn't really going to support Terra Classic or Terra Station anymore. So, and there's been a bunch of debate on that, whether that how true that was or how true that wasn't. But this is what we were told, right? So they created Rebel Station, but Rebel Station still relied on some TFL support, okay? So this proposal came out for funding to be able to absolutely move away from TFL not needing any of their support. So if all of a sudden one day they just decided to go away and they weren't supporting anything else to do with Terra Classic, we would have a seamless move over to Rebel Station, still have access to everything that we have validated, right? And if you, here on Terra Station, this has already passed. It passed overwhelmingly. And if you went to the link here, it would bring you to the whole entire proposal, which is listed on Agora. Now, you can read through this thing if you want, if you already haven't. But the main idea here is that we anticipate this work taking 2 months at a cost of $150,000. This is what the community was led to believe that this money was going to be for, okay? But what they did was, once they got that money, they voted to distribute that money as some sort of compensation to various members of the team, including some Discord moderators or whatever. I really don't have a breakdown. I don't know exactly who got what. But it's been reported over and over, and this is why Zaradar decided to leave as well. It's been reported over and over that this is what they did with that money. They paid people with it, and maybe the majority of the money went to kind of non-essential kind of things. I don't know. That's really up for debate. But here's the problem, okay? We were led to believe that this money was going in one direction, and when we asked, what exactly are you going to do with that money? Before we even voted, some people were asking, what are you going to do with that money? What is the dispersion? What? Give me an itemized list. I asked myself, is there an itemized list? I was told, no. There's no itemized list. There's not going to be an itemized list, okay? So we were left to trust the Terra Rebels. Zaradar was still there, and this thing got passed. Well, they didn't really do with the money what we were led to believe was going to happen with this money. Now, look at it this way, right? Let's say I'm having a conversation with my mother, and I tell her that, my mortgage is due. I got to get my mortgage paid. And then in the same conversation, I say, listen, do you have like $2,000 that I can have, right? And she's like, well, yeah, gives me the $2,000. Now, I pay my mortgage, but I was going to pay my mortgage anyway. I never said I didn't have the money to pay my mortgage. but I asked for the $2,000. She was under the impression that that money was to pay my mortgage, but instead what I did was I went out and I bought a bunch of Christmas presents. Maybe got my fiance a nice diamond necklace or whatever. My mother sees all this, right? All of a sudden I just spent $2,000 on all kind of other stuff, and she's upset about it. Well, I thought you needed that money to pay your mortgage. Well, my mortgage is paid. I mean, if you want to look at it as I took that $2,000 you gave me and paid my mortgage, and all these other things were bought with another $2,000 I had, isn't that deceiving, right? Shouldn't I give my mother that $2,000 back? That was shady. That would have been really shady for me to do. This is what the community views happened here, okay? Because what's happening now is that the narrative is being changed, and we're being told you're getting Rebel Station. So, you gave us money, you wanted Rebel Station, you're getting Rebel Station, it's being completed. But what we're finding out is that you didn't use that money for that sole purpose. You used it to pay other people. So obviously you had the ability to complete Rebel Station without this money. So basically you just pulled, like the little scenario I gave you with, getting $2,000 for my mortgage, right? It's not cool. It's not cool. And a lot of the community is screaming for this money back. You ever going to get the money back? I don't know if you're ever going to get the money back. I mean, how would you really get it back? But anyway, moving along, this tweet came out. So this actually speaks to what I'm talking about too. On December 22nd, this was by Clan Mudhorn. Devs are hard at work knocking out UI changes, fixes for Rebel Station. Echelon is diligently working to spin up and sync the needed backend infrastructure, attempting to find ways to increase sync throughput speeds, right? So even after all this and being having the community let them know that they were very upset with what actually went on with this money, we feel like this money was just stolen from the community. Business as usual. Let's ignore all that and let's just let you know this thing is being developed, because that's all you should be concerned about, is that this thing is developed. What actually happened to that money, don't worry about it. You wanted Rebel Station, we're doing Rebel Station for you, right? So then we got the proposal yesterday from Edward Kim on this L1 task force that he and Zaradar are heading up, okay? And this came out 7 hours ago from Clan Mudhorn. I honestly like the breakdown on Ed's new proposal. It's clear and concise. This tweet should have stopped right there. If it had stopped right there, that would have been great. But that's not what happened. He goes on to say, we were selling a product and not asking for funding as a dedicated team. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not even sure what that means. I'm not sure the point that's trying to be made there. I don't really get it, right? Then it goes on to say, I would push for such a breakdown if a proposal were to be raised to be the dedicated L2 support team for LUNC. You got to read the room, okay? The community is pissed that you use that money for what you use that money for. Now you're going to say, hey, maybe we can be the dedicated L2 support team? Come on, right? I almost get speechless when I get to this point, because it is so colorblind. You're just not seeing what's going on here, right? The issue is not that we didn't get Rebel Station. If we get Rebel Station, everything's okay. The issue is you didn't tell anybody, refused to tell anybody what that money was going to be used for. And now you're saying you would push for such a breakdown if a prop were raised for, well, a little too little too late, okay? We asked for that breakdown previous. You didn't give it to us. Then you went ahead and did what you did with the money, and you ruined the credibility of the Terra Rebels. You killed all trust that this community had for the Terra Rebels. And if you think for a minute that the community is going to be like, oh, okay, take that $150,000, do whatever you want with it, and let's give you some more money, as long as you let us know what you do with it this time. I don't think there's a second chance here. I really don't. And listen, all of this is my opinion. Just my opinion, just my perspective. I'm not suggesting anybody should feel the way I feel. I'm just letting you know from my perspective, this is what I'm seeing, right? I don't think there's any way out here. And I'm putting this video out because honestly, I asked Clan if he wanted to come on and address the community and talk about their perspective. I always want to give everybody a chance to put their side out there because Zaradar has put his side out there. These guys say they don't agree. Well, come and talk to the community, right? And he said he would take it under consideration. He would talk to the team about, whether that was a good thing to do. But he also expressed the feeling that he felt like, excuse me, anything that he said, nothing that he said was really going to help. Anything that he would say, just might make things worse, right? And I believe that that's absolutely true. I've come to the realization that Clan's not coming on my channel. I don't think he's going to go on anybody's channel to talk about this. Unless you can find some YouTuber out there who thinks that what the moves that you guys made with that money was all fine and that you should just continue on to, to be the L2 support team or whatever it is you're proposing here. Unless you can find somebody who believes that and who's going to lob softball questions at you, Clan's not going on anybody's channel. Because any question that I could think to ask, I can't imagine that there would be a good answer for, or one that would shine a good light on Terra Rebels at this point, or what they've done. A lot of people, I guess, accepted a lot of money. It's been floated out there that's, maybe $10,000 to mods or what. I don't know the breakdown for sure. I haven't seen it. This is just what's out there, right? You guys have a big problem going forward. Again, the community wants their money back. They feel like it's been stolen. They feel like they've been misled as to what was going to happen to that money. It's almost too late for anybody to even come out and say, well, I just kind of went along with the crowd. This is what everybody was doing, so I did it too. It's a little too late maybe even to move away from that because you had a voice of reason in Zaradar trying to tell you this was not a good idea. But Christmas was coming up. Here's an opportunity to put some serious cash in your pocket and really pile up those Christmas presents under the tree, right? And you went with grabbing the money as opposed to how this would play out with the community or not, okay? So moving forward, there's a couple things you could do. Anybody who maybe hasn't already spent all that money could turn around and find a way to get it right back into the community pool and, say, listen, I had no idea that the community was going to react this way to it. Maybe I didn't really understand what was going on. I don't know what excuses you'll come up with, but get that money back in the community pool, okay? Separate yourself from this thing because this thing is very, very damaging. Anybody who's on this team who voted yes and who took that money, if Terra Rebels goes bye-bye, and that's a distinct possibility, if you think that you're ever going to work in this field again in crypto, maybe go to another project, this is going to follow you everywhere you go. And I think we should all be clear that being undoxed or, having an alias or whatever doesn't necessarily protect you because you could change your name if you want to. No one knows who you are. No one's seen your face. No one knows your real name, where you live, anything about you. So you could change your name and then potentially go and try to get into another project if you want. But there's always that person out there who might take something that you say in that project and say, that sounds very much like blah, 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 right? and stop putting things together. And next thing you know, there's a 52-page PDF article out about how you're really this other person who was in the Terra Rebels who grabbed $10,000 and then took off on everybody. Okay? This stuff's going to follow you. You got to find a way to try to do what's right. Okay? Or you can consider that money your severance package and be on your way. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you guys should do or shouldn't do. I don't know what you can do to kind of save face here. But you got to start reading the room. It's way too soon for, hey, maybe we can do this or we can do that. Maybe you can fund something else for us. I don't know. It's bad decision after bad decision, and it really breaks my heart because, as I showed you, I've been a big supporter of this group since the beginning. But I got to call it as I see it. As things started breaking down, I had to let you know. And I think things have broken down so far at this point, I don't think they're recoverable. I really don't. I'll be interested to watch and see how this breaks down. But that's my opinion. That's my perspective. That's my rant for the day. Sorry the video was so long. Some of you have been suggesting to me that I make my videos shorter, and I promise I'm going to. When we're talking about getting information out for, maybe this L1 task force, if that actually goes through, if they get funded, when we're talking about those things, I'm going to make every effort to keep everything as concise as I can, but I also want to get you all the information that you need. I don't want to leave things out just for brevity's sake, okay? So get used to the fact that I don't do 8-minute or 10-minute videos all the time. And if you need to come back and watch the video later to catch everything, then go ahead and do that, All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Again, Merry Christmas or whatever it is that you celebrate. I really hope you have a great one. And I'm looking forward to a really, really strong 2023 for the Terra Classic community and for LUNC. I think it's going to happen. I think we're on a really good path now if we make some good decisions here over the next week or two. All right. I will talk to you later. How do I get out of here? This is how I do it. All right. Ciao.